which might mean roaring and punching a pillow or screaming bloody murder, or it could be really peaceful and
some people
calm.
are laughing, some people are just smiling to themselves.
Full range of human experience happens, because breathing is like our most simple, natural thing that we do. And just going inward and connecting breath with movement changed my life, straight up. That moment of noticing there's an inward experience. Wow, there's a whole inner world that's always there, and it's kind of in turmoil, to be honest, when I found it. But wow, it's vast, it's me, it's beyond everything.
Welcome, a little Who on Earth crew, to episode 5 of season 2. This one with Levi Banner, another cousin from America. Levi is cool, man. He loves looking into the sort of astrological side of things, but then he brings in shamanic breathwork, that to just use the breath to bring towards you what needs to be seen, and then releasing anyway. It might be a roar, might be a scream, might be punching pillows, it might be laughter, crying, or just peaceful serenity. And also, Levi is a musician, international DJ, so I've been to one of his ecstatic dances, and it was really cool. It's one of those temple ones that Nicky Cohen and Wizardry put on. He knows what he's doing. So now, as you're about to embark on this journey with Levi Banner, I just want you to consider the insights you're about to gain. If anything from the episode resonates with you, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. And anything that you do in terms of likes or subscribing to the show, that engagement actually helps me to bring even more profound content and guests, so it's really appreciated. Let's get involved, man. I appreciate you so much for being here right now. Now, before we get into my conversation with Levi, here's a few words about, the Transmute crew. It's a new season, but it's the same old sponsor, and that's Transmute Studio. Beautiful centre in the centre of Manchester, Northern Quarter. It's got loads of the old stuff like the African drumming, the African dance classes. They've got salsa now as well. They've got the beautiful Arignani, ceremonial ecstatic dance with Wizardry from the show. But also, my alter ego, DJ Moksha, has made an appearance with his new ecstatic dance, Liberation. So, sound baths, Kundalini yoga, candlelit yoga, loads of beautiful events there. It's all about wellness, culture, creativity. What's going to do a better job of explaining it than my little mouth is going down to the socials, the website, and seeing it for yourself. So I'll put a link in the description, and you could maybe come float in one of them hammocks with myself. But for now, guys, enjoy the episode. Peace and love.
Well, hello. Invite everyone inward, and invite you to close your eyes and take a couple deep breaths. And begin to take deeper breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. It's going on a quick journey, just like a 10-breath journey. In through your nose and out through your mouth, and just kind of let any tension or residue from anything before kind of melt away. Just come fully present here and now. In through the nose and out through the mouth, like just keep that going for a minute. Taking a deep breath, let it all out. And just notice how you feel. Notice what's come up. Becoming fully present with all parts of yourself. When you're ready, you can open your eyes and tune in to our podcast.
Thank you for that, brother. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks
Coming
for having me.
all the way from America just for this.
Yeah, well, I'm quite nomadic these days. I don't know if I'm direct from America, but...
I always start Who on Earth with where you come from, and you aren't
Yeah.
the first American, actually. We've had Echo. Echo was the one who first started it. I know you already know Echo. And then we've also had Evan Fraser from Dirtwire.
Oh, yeah.
So we had him on as well.
Oh, wonderful.
So you'll be the third one, that we've got on.
Gotcha.
So whereabouts in the USA?
I grew up in Oregon, on the West Coast, just between Seattle and San Francisco, if you will. And I grew up in a small town, college town.
Okay.
But I moved to the big city for my 20s, Portland. People know Portland. It's pretty cool, hip. But I found myself living in Bali and abroad about 10 years ago. So I consider myself an expat, or, yes, I'm American-ish,
The accent's still a little bit...
Certainly, yeah.
So let's rewind then from Bali. Even before the 20-year-old went off to explore the big city. What was it like growing up for you?
Well, it's like a hippie town.
Okay.
My parents were hippies, kind of. And it's kind of where all the Grateful Dead people, do you know the Grateful Dead? It's an American band.
Let's do it.
That just stormed the 70s, 80s, 90s. They were the jam band that thousands of hippies followed.
Okay, so we need to check that out straight after this.
Definitely. Okay. Grateful Dead,
okay,
if you don't know
that,
them.
Guys.
Yeah. Kind of bluegrassy, twangy rock and roll. And they're quite well known in that hippie scene. So thousands of followers would go on tour with them. Next show's in the Bay. Next show's in LA.
Yeah, it's not just small fires.
No, they were big time. And the lead singer passed away in like 95. So there's just one of those settling points. Glass blowers, the glass pipe, weed smokers, that kind of person resided in Eugene, Oregon, where I'm from. So that's kind of how I grew up.
So you said your parents were hippies a little bit, and you're in a hippie town.
Yeah.
How's this playing out for you then?
Well, I was hippie-ish,
okay,
but I wanted to do the opposite. So,
so
me and my friends got into hip hop. It's like
you want me to do that, all right, I'm gonna do that.
Even unconsciously, it was like doing what people do in New York, not Oregon, which is quite different. So, but yeah, we got into dancing and DJing and rapping and graffiti and all these things that aren't really found so much in a hippie city.
So hip hop we're looking at as well.
Hippie hop.
Hippity hop.
we would got really into dancing. Like when I sort of finished high school, just barely got into dancing. All my energy went there instead of college or a job or whatever.
Party boy.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. I was still drinking and smoking at that time. Before I got quote unquote sober.
You're talking to a Manchester boy, I know.
Yeah. Not much else to do, right? So we were doing that, and but competing and teaching and performing, street dance, break dancing, and all that.
Spinning on your head.
All that. Spinning, sliding, flipping, all that. Yeah.
How was that for you?
Well, dancing is a powerful outlet, so even if it was cool and, kind of macho to do, it was keeping us on a positive path.
Was it more performative then?
It was a big mixture. It's a big mixture. We were really about the exchange more than anything, not doing it for money at all, just kind of every day almost exchanging moves and practicing and getting better.
So just loving the craft.
Yeah.
Enjoying the expression, the connections that you're clearly making with others as well.
If you had a team, you could call it a gang, if you could call it that, and
part of the gang life.
Like a hippie gang. And so it was a coming of age thing too. We were young adults, young men, finding ourselves. I don't think I could have been on a podcast, in my teenager years. I would be looking down and be stoned and, and
can't relate.
And I found myself through dance.
Okay, so
I can dance in front of anyone.
before the dancing, can you just let them, because obviously childhood's a big thing.
Sure.
I mean, I'm sure someone like yourself understands seeing a child works. Part of growing up is sort of leaving that part behind and becoming an adult. But it sounds like that was a sort of moment where you were transitioning.
Yeah.
But what were we transitioning from? How was it like when you were younger?
So around the time, like, we're going way back. You know, when I would be in a bar mitzvah or a coming of age ceremony of any kind in 12 or 13, that was really when I got heavy into smoking weed and eating pills and drinking alcohol. Like that's what I did. There wasn't a coming of age ceremony for boys into men. And so my teenage years are more of a blurry mess of like a shit show of drugs and alcohol, basically going to concerts and festivals and parties and all that, just to get wasted, basically.
I mean, I know from personal experience, it was more just because I was quite socially anxious.
Yeah.
I also was the kid who would rather just be like which would blow people away, like me. I was shy, and it's funny, like we've lived many lives.
Indeed.
So when you're obviously getting into the drink, the alcohol, the drugs, where are you at that point?
I mean,
because sometimes that can just be, I'm having it. Some people are like, no, I genuinely just having a good time. Some people are running.
No, I was certainly running and having a good time doing it. My parents split when I was like 8. That's a big one for me personally. Yeah, for me that was a huge. That separation affected me deeply.
Okay.
And not to notice it so much then, but to look back, certainly. It's like, wow, that was the edge. That was the breaking point that affected me so deeply. And being with like just my mom pretty much.
So you went with the mom too then?
I went with the mom. The dad was, angry. He eventually got sick. So there wasn't really an accountability back then so much, or I didn't want to face that accountability. I would just push it away. Oh, no, forget you, Mom. I'm going out. As a little brat for a few years there. And that's the only time I didn't get along with my parents. They're pretty cool. They're hippie parents. They're cool.
So those parents weren't like, oh my God, it was like actually probably quite upsetting to see them now drift away and see your dad being ill, angry.
Yeah, certainly. It led to me being angry.
Right.
Yeah. So it's getting that out, as vandalizing property, making art as well, but definitely. But and it turned into that. I started out doing graffiti out of before the dancing. Even.
So this was like a first love sort of thing. Then?
Yeah, like even in like middle school, teenage years, like. I don't know what you guys call it, but early teens, I was already putting my name on things, and that led into bigger pieces, and trains and billboards, and I was everywhere for a while. It was madness.
What were we calling ourselves?
That's incriminating.
It's El Barto or something.
Something like that, yeah. But it was a madness for a while. I was obsessed with that, so I'd stay out all night, all the time, and put my name on things. And some of it was pretty cool looking. Others was straight, scratching my name into stuff for just because it was there. But that also helped with the expression, and that eventually turned into more positive things. It was a path. That led to my late 20s. Leading art projects that were funded by the city. For kids to help out with, and for us to beautify big walls that were getting vandalized all the time in poorer neighborhoods.
I have noticed that a lot of the time it starts as this destructive quality, but when some healing is then done, the talent doesn't go away. The energy behind it just changes.
Yeah, I've always been an artist. Like my mom's an artist. She was actually an art teacher for a while, and so that passion or desire to create art is still there. It's always been there.
What is it for you when you are creating art?
Well, art's many things, right? Yeah. So back then it was my name, being something, being something out of nothing, whatever, being somebody out of nobody. But it leads to the way we teach a class, right? The way we lead a meditation, the way we talk to each other right now is an art form, I believe. So, I still have, skills with a spray can, but I don't really follow it like some of my friends do still to this day. And they've built that skill more. I put my energy into teaching things like yoga and other for a while it was dancing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's move on to the dancing. So you breakdancing, you're in your hip hop gang.
yeah.
So is that sort of mixing with the drugs?
Yeah.
With the escapism?
Yeah, for a while it was like early 20s. I was between Portland and Eugene, these like the city and the town. And there was a point where I tried to mix it all.
Okay.
Where I was, I found yoga through dance, and I was teaching yoga and dance.
So how did you find the yoga then?
Yeah, so the drinking and smoking part, those days, went far into my 20s until I found yoga. It was some point, it was actually because of dancing, like we would stretch before we dance. We found naturally, we found naturally that stretching a little bit before and after our beating ourselves up on the ground dancing helped. Yeah. With both the dance.
So it's more practical
and the healing.
At first when you found it. It's not about aligning the breath with the movement.
Well,
present,
it was a life-changing moment. Okay. To be honest, the first time I did a quote-unquote yoga pose, and I'll never forget it. I was wide-legged, forward fold kind of thing, something like this. And my friend was like, "Yeah, I just read this book, so do this and that." So I'm doing the pose, and he says, "Just close your eyes and breathe like this." And just going inward and connecting breath with movement changed my life. Straight up. That moment of noticing there's an inward experience more than like, I don't know, more than I had before was wow for me personally.
So when you say inward experience, just for safe, let's pretend we've got someone who has no idea what we're talking about. Inward experience, what's that?
Close your eyes and take a deep breath. Follow it. Notice what's in there. That concept. It's like, wow, there's a whole inner world that's always there, and it's kind of in turmoil, to be honest, when I found it. But wow. It's vast, it's me, it's beyond everything. So instead of, I guess it was instead of inducing it through a smoke, and that doesn't quite do it, or whatever, or a drink or whatever, finding just a way in with the breath, or just, eyes closed, was this beautiful pathway that I had the power to do without anything. That to me was profound.
You don't need anything outside of yourself to
Exactly.
To dance.
Wonderful.
To meditate.
And from then on, I was captivated. I got right into yoga from there, and my dance changed.
Well, yeah, you must have been a bit more flexible.
The yoga certainly helps the dance, yeah. But so much more. Yoga kind of tricks you.
Go on.
I love that because you come for a nice workout. Many people do come for a nice workout, and then that leads them on to often a more spiritual path, you could call it, or at least a more inward experience.
I mean, it's funny. I had somebody who was saying, like, I struggle with boredom. And I said, you don't struggle with boredom, you struggle with ignorance. You're ignorant of the world, the universe that's going on within you. Yeah. Or the one that's going around you. You're too busy trying to focus on just solving the problems using the past to predict the future that you've not realised. There's a whole bloody show on right now.
Here, right now.
Right now.
Absolutely. Yeah, to be bored, that was when I was young. My mom told me, like, how can you be bored? There's so much to do. And that also was a turning point. That was when I was young. So, no, bored is a foreign concept. How can anyone be bored? You could just close your eyes and breathe. You can just be. That sounds great right now, actually. Just being.
I mean, it won't make for a great podcast, but we'll have a good time.
You know what I mean? Like it's nice to rest.
I completely resonate because boredom to me was one of my main things. We're in a society, especially growing up in the 90s, that's a highly stimulating society with TV, phones were starting to come in, internet starting to come in. We're getting programmed to be constantly stimulated. So the second it's still, nothing's going on, I've got to sit with these sensations. No one taught me how to do that. Give me something else to do.
You know? Yeah.
So we've just realised that we've got the solution to boredom. Do we still carry on drinking? Do we still carry on partying?
Yeah, it took a couple of years for me to get out of the accumulation of substances and accumulation of, you know, these layers of protection, really.
Yeah.
I
think it's important you say that.
Yeah.
They are trying to protect you.
Yeah, for good reason. You know, I had pain, I had anxiety, I had, you know, my own childlike experiences that started to dissolve when I did less of the smoking and more of the just being. And it wasn't until my yoga training, that was like 2007.
And where did we do that?
Sedona, Arizona.
Shout out.
Yeah, I love Sedona. It's one of my favorite places. I've continued to go back there recently. There's a great community there, so shout out for sure. But it's like the desert, dry.
Okay.
You know, and very different than the wet, rainy Oregon I grew up with.
How did you find that?
I mean, I hated it. It gets cold in the winter, and I would get depressed. Okay. You know, it's depressing being in gray skies for months on end. Do you know what I mean?
That's why you only nip to Manchester for a few days and then go.
Exactly. I only come here in June, you know, in the summertime. But yeah, that depression or whatever, and all that kind of accumulated, you know, and it's just a turning point when I found a yoga training I wanted to take. I went on a big journey, a road trip. You know, finding myself, and you know what it was. I had an injury on my hand, and they gave me pain pills for it.
Okay.
And I have had countless friends pass from pills.
I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, that's all right, but it's the nature of the place I'm from. It's like nothing else to do, lots of pain, internal struggle. These opiates are on hand. So countless friends. And when I noticed, so I always kind of stayed on the edge of like going really deep, getting super west.
The red flags, the warnings.
I did, and I was in it. You know, I was in it with them. I was on the same edge. They would just go deeper, and some would fall away. And I was prescribed the pills, and instantly could see and feel why they liked them. You know. Or why I liked them, and it was like kind of a choice of like being really into those, which helped my hand, sure, but I could see like taking extras and taking them for longer, and I just said, no, I don't want these. I'm going on the road. I need to go find yoga. Let's go. So I went on a solo journey, landed in Sedona, took my yoga training, and that's where I became, you know, stopped eating meat and so much sugar, and stopped smoking and drinking and all that.
So that's not just bypass that, you know, stopped eating meat. Why?
Oh,
I mean, I've also made the choice.
Sure.
Why was it for you?
In the beginning, I still haven't. That's been like 15 years. I've been like vegan.
Okay, so not vegetarian, vegan.
Vegetarian for like 9 months, and then ever since then, vegan. Yeah. Yeah, for all the reasons.
Moral,
it's spiritual, health. Okay. I feel that's all beneficial to me personally, and don't find any.
There's no missing it. There's no desire.
No, I mean, I like melty cheese. That's, but they're fixing. You know, you can find that now, and fish is all right.
People who are being like yourself, or not, I haven't quite made that jump to veganism, but without the demand, people aren't going to start putting time and effort into creating these better methods. So it's because of people like you.
Sure. And nowadays it's so easy. You know, I've had the privilege of touring the world the last couple of years, like everywhere. And if I'm close enough to any city, then it's super easy. There's always vegan options, and I still find it fun to eat, you know, things that are like meat or like cheese, and you know, it's fun. But health is definitely a part of it. And
I mean, that's one of the reasons why I don't go for a lot of the sort of like substitutes, because my body goes, well, what the fuck is
what
that?
is that?
It's like, how am I meant to process that? That's nothing. It's almost like I'm chasing this echo of the past.
Yeah.
That's not bacon. It's faking.
Yeah. So I say it's fun, but health-wise, whole foods and cooking it myself and all that was a big part of it.
You enjoy cooking then?
Yeah, I was living in Bali a long time. I'm jumping around here, but
no, my job's to bring you back. You do that.
I was living in a community there in Portland for some time and cooking every meal, and that was my chore and stuff. But then moving to Bali, Indonesia, shortly after that was the next place. It's quite a big jump, but I found myself never cooking because it's inexpensive. To eat out and probably better, so it's I do like to, but don't have to so much.
Fair enough. So you've just taken the decision that I'm not going to have the pills. I'm going to go do this yoga course instead. Does the hand pain go away, by the way, at some point?
Oh yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, pretty quickly. They had me on PT, and by the end of the yoga training, everything's good to go. I think becoming so aware of the body and mind and the interconnection of the emotions and the body and the mind was huge, and I was transformed. It's such a big transformation at the time. I was like 24 years old or something. And
for anybody who's struggling with it, because I don't want to gloss over any adversity you might have had, because that's why a lot of people don't go as deep as yourself. Was the moments for yourself, and how did you overcome it?
That was it. It was the pills.
Okay.
It was the pills, because I could literally see myself going in either direction. It really felt that way. I was like, wow, it's so easy to numb it all out and just be in that substance, like so many of my friends are doing. It was very bizarre for a young male in a small town to choose a yoga path.
Okay.
So nobody.
It was against the grain.
This is like one or two people I could look to that would relate, maybe,
Was it fear, or was it more just this greater sense of this isn't me?
The pills?
Yeah, was it like the fear of seeing what's happened to your friends?
Yeah, it was both. It was both of those. It was mostly what I can see in others, and how they just mess everything up because of it or die. And I could just glance and see that path, that version of me that could easily go that direction.
You're artistic, you can visualize. You're literally seeing that's gonna just
feeling into that space even, and or doing what I know I want to do. Have that sense of belonging or longing to go deeper into myself, to walk this more healthy path, this other version of me. And it took me saying, no, I don't want these. I'm not taking another day of those. And getting in my car and going on a journey, which is a whole story of its own, but leading within the next month or something to a yoga studio that I finally resonated with, that I liked, that I wanted to. And I took that opportunity. I took that month long to change my life.
So you didn't rush into it either. You really deliberated over this. This was like you understood the importance of...
Yes. Yeah. I had been trying to deepen my practice for a couple of years now. Okay. It was very...
It's meant something to you.
Yeah. It's just like, it felt so good. It's so different than what I'm taught or what others are doing, and healing from the dancing and all that stuff as well. So that stuff hurts. But just kind of doing something that I know is going to help me grow and feel better, and not listening to the path of my friends or the path that's kind of given to me by my society, my hippie town.
Which is a big thing, man. Going against what the peer pressure, the sheep factor of, I'm actually going to be the one who the world says do this, and I go, no.
Yeah.
It's just not right. And that takes, was it sort of bravery there?
It was so hard, because even after my yoga training, now I'm not eating meat or drinking, and I'm still trying to go hang out with my dance gang.
Yeah. I've been there, brother.
And they're getting wasted like we always do. And I'm only friends with a couple of those guys.
Some of that doesn't make them bad people.
Not at all. No. Not saying that.
Doesn't necessarily resonate with the path I'm on, but your heart is in the right place. You know, I'll see you here and there. Like,
yeah. You we'll go paint a mural together.
Yeah.
And everything will change when they have a smoke. You know, it's like we have a plan. We're well into our way, and then they're like, oh yeah, it's a smoke break. And then they're like, whoa, this is cool. You know, it's like
all structure's just gone.
It's, you know. And the same with her dancing and everything. It's just got hard to manage, and I kind of grew out of it. It wasn't anyone's fault. I'm not blaming anyone at all.
No, you just changed.
Yeah, I just changed.
And I've been there. I've tried going out on a night out in Manchester when I stopped drinking because I lived in Australia. Yeah. So my friend group for 6 months didn't see me go on that journey.
Yeah.
And when I came back, I'm like, no, I'm still gonna go out. I'm not gonna, because I didn't know about ecstatic dance. I didn't know about all these other things. I hadn't met my current girlfriend who introduced me to that side of things. So I'm just like, I'm gonna have to live the life I was living, but sober.
Yeah.
People are like, I'm there with a chewing gum and water, and they're like, oh, you on the? And I'm like, no, I'm sober. And they're like, it's 4 a.m. You're in town, everyone else is fucked. What are you doing? That happened only a few more times, and then it was just, I guess that's not for me.
Yeah.
But so it's about you. You finally found this yoga now, though.
Yeah.
At one point, do we then go traveling to Bali, or are we missing something?
Oh, this story after story, you know.
Please, that's what we're here for.
Well, so I've overlapped. I've found yoga. I'm already a yoga teacher. I've started teaching right away.
Well, how was that then?
Oh, I didn't plan to. I went for my own personal thing. I thought, oh, someday when I'm like a guru, you know, status, when I'm old and wise, I'll start teaching. But
when you've reached Yoda level.
You know what I mean? Like when I'm Yoda, there is no try. But no, that's not how it happened. Immediately, my teachers, my friends are asking me to sub their classes in Sedona. So it's like the same week.
So you're learning as you teach, which being a meditation teacher myself, that's how I did it. I just went straight for it. I knew more than the person next to me. Let's just tell them what I know.
That's all.
That was all it was. But you start realizing your practice.
Oh yeah.
If you're going to teach others, you can't become stagnant. No. You've got to keep going.
Exactly.
So tell me how that was for you.
Well, as soon as I finish, I'm asked to teach, and I said, "Oh, nervous."
Of course.
So I'm still transitioning into being seen and being able to talk to people. Because now I'm dancing in front of people. I don't have to say anything. You know. So anyone can look at me dancing, and actually, I want you to see me. Look. You know. But that was the transition to talking in front of people. And that was like, I'm a slow starter, you know, and when I start a class, I have to like consciously start, because when I'm into it, it's rocking, you know, it's fun. It's
you're in the flow.
In the flow.
Yeah.
So getting in the flow is still a challenge.
Even now?
Yeah. I'm conscious of it now. So now I just start and everything unfolds. But if I hesitate, you know, I can easily get stuck in my head. So that was a journey. Finding myself through teaching, you know, to teach is to know and all that. So I think it just went hand in hand, like you just shared, you know, teaching and learning was all wrapped up into one. And so I taught yoga for 15 years till a couple of years ago. Very into teaching.
So talk to me about that then. Well,
it started in Portland, actually at a little food co-op. I just went to the local food co-op here, and it brought back memories of People's Food Co-op in Portland, where I would get 25% off my food for teaching once a week, and that worked because I just became vegan, and you know I'm trying to eat really well, and they have the local organic vegetables and yada yada. So and it also gained experience for me. I gained experience through it. Till eventually I had experience. I started teaching at a community college, we call them. It's like a precursor to a university.
So we have colleges. We basically have it where you go from high school, about 16, you go to a college for a few years, and then you go to university when you're like 18.
It's a little different, but similar. We'll just leave it at that. But it's kind of like a university. It's university level credit.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was teaching like people that are trying to get a university degree. They would maybe it's a lower budget version of the university itself, or something like that. Some of the classes are better or worse. Yeah. So, anyways, teaching street dance and.
So you were teaching the dances.
I was teaching dance and yoga.
Okay.
So I was teaching both for a while. So I was teaching like a few classes I called hip hop yoga. You know what I mean? Like I did like live DJ and like doing all the yoga poses, and the dance poses are the same. And
how was that?
Well, it's fun. It's a fun transition time where I was doing both. My paths overlapped. They weren't like I stopped dancing and do yoga. It was like, no, they go hand in hand for as long as they could.
One thing breathed into the other. It wasn't just
definitely
structure, line, next to
Yeah. Sometimes things fall away so that others can, but it was, for me, it was an overlapping, a taper, out and in.
Was it a happy marriage as well?
Yeah, for a while. That's pretty cool. Like hip hop yoga is pretty cool.
I really want to do it.
Yeah. And many people have. I've seen, but that was a long time ago, to me. And
a few lives ago.
Yeah, many lifetimes in this life. So but that transition was beautiful, and really it was when I moved to Bali that everything grew, expanded.
What brought that trip on?
It was a woman.
Okay.
I didn't have any desire to go to Asia. I was actually thinking to expand into like Peru or something. And that kind of lifestyle.
I mean, that's what it was. My girlfriend was going to an ecstatic dance. No idea what that is, but you're gorgeous.
I will
go to hell. Tell me how hot is it there?
So luckily she's saying let's move to a tropical island. So I said, okay, cool, yeah, let's go to a tropical island. I knew nothing about it. It's not a hard sell. She wasn't asking to go to hell, but I would have gone. So I didn't know anything about Bali. And I moved there with her. We're starting a new life, and shout out to her. And
does her have a name?
The monikers will stay,
right?
But
we have to share everything.
Though it was such an expansive place, just like Portland, the bigger city, expanded everything I was doing like 100 times. It was like 1,000 times, or more, like exponentially.
I know a lot of people who go to Bali. It's definitely on the list. Yeah,
and I moved there 10 years ago, so I was like I was Bali famous for a while.
What was that like?
Well, it's living in a small place and being big fish in a small pond. But internationally, people come all the time, and so I got to touch many lives, and
must have built a lot of important relationships there.
Absolutely, yeah, a lot of, and even the other day, somebody came to Manchester Yoga Central, where I was teaching a workshop, and said, "Oh, I went to one of your breathworks like 6 years ago in Bali, and so I saw you were in England, so I had to come." And that stuff happens all the time. So that's what it was like being in Bali.
Now that you're on Who on Earth, mate, this is going to go crazy.
Right, all right, woo. Yeah, looking for fame.
How was it though for you? Like, because you've gone from this person, like you said, and looking down, like looking at my dance moves. Did you like it? Or?
Now I'm teaching classes of 85, 100 people. I'm just commanding a big room, never a microphone.
Are we loving it, or is there still some part of you inside going just pure? This is me?
Well, there was that like I said, that slow starter.
Okay.
So if I didn't start. Then it took a minute to get going. But if I start with a joke or just, welcoming everyone, I feel quite comfortable with that now. Very comfortable. Actually, I could teach as many people are in front of me, millions,
Oh, no, I understand. Literally, one person, in fact, it doesn't. But the most scary thing for me was when I went to a conscious classroom for kids.
Yeah.
I don't have a little brother. I don't have. So when they were like, will you come and teach? And I was like, I will, because I know I need to. And I know that's important on my journey, and the younglings are so important.
Absolutely.
And for me, I'm going to have children. But it was like, and then they were brilliant. They knew more than I did. I was blown away. I was like, Jesus. But festivals, whatever, like, let's do it.
Let's do it.
But I was that kid as well who,
I
wouldn't even go to the park. That scared me, like the other kids. I'm not talking to other kids. Are you crazy?
Yeah. So I'm shy by nature, but it's kind of like, to be honest, I'm either in front of a lot of people, whether it's playing music, DJing, or teaching a class or whatever, what have you. I am withdrawn otherwise. Okay. I'm kind of like,
So it's a balance. It's
very chill. I like Netflix. I like, bass. I chill out with very few people, if anyone. when I'm alone, and then I'm in front of a bunch of people. There's not a lot of in between.
You don't like balance.
No, it is balancing, but the in between is.
No, I understand, man. You need to go doof to balance it out. The polarity does actually bring you back to balance. So
exactly.
You've mentioned some stuff that I haven't learned how you got around to that. So let's start with the breath work. When did that start coming in?
Well, breath work. Yeah. So I found yoga because of that moment with the breath, remember? So that was, again, profound for me. I'll never forget it, just that it was like a click or a spark because of the breath part of it. So I always knew that breath is what connected that outward stretching with the inner meditation, you could say. Say it any way you like, but it connects the inner and outer. Once you connect to your breathing, all unfolds, That was my primary focus in any yoga practice. And in my dancing too. I was now aware of my breath, and so I kind of have had a superpower, go long time, that kind of thing. Everyone has their superpowers, but that helped my dancing exponentially. So my yoga path brought me, the breath is the core of it. Even when I moved to Portland, we would practice in my community house that I was living in, yoga every morning. But it was, if we didn't have time for the whole thing, 2 hours every morning, at least breathe, at least come, tune in, do our breathing, and then go. It's always the focus was pranayama, they call it.
Oh yeah, I mean, I teach my classes that we start every meditation with the breath. Key. The breath is your best friend. If you haven't got the breath, I make a shit joke, which is you got more to worry about the meditation than you if you haven't got the breath.
There you go. There you go.
Always got the breath.
There you go. It's always there. So you're right. That's funny, and it was always known for me that that's what's important. And I could draw upon many yoga teachers that predicted how important breathing practices would be in the future, which is now.
Okay.
And it came in a different way. The Wim Hof and all that became kind of mainstream, I would call it at this point.
Oh, he's been on BBC.
Big explosions and fireworks while he's teaching at a festival is like, what? It's crazy.
I mean, that was probably the first time I met the breath.
Yeah, there you go.
Wim Hof, just in, out, fully, hold, you've got this.
He's a crazy character. I've had the privilege of meeting him and his brother. And
how was that, by the way, as a side note?
Oh, before he was really that famous, I was like, who's the Iceman? He came to Bali, and he was in my partner's class, and we were just talking a little bit. I thought he was kind of kooky. Bless him. And his brother's super chill, and he teaches at the same festivals as me, and is humble to good people. And I credit him for really making a big splash with quote unquote breath work, which to me, bless him, is a variation of pranayama. It's a way to do pranayama in a way with a focus of superhuman strength, vitalizing and all that. So that's wonderful. And before that, breath work was something that was where you lay down, you breathe a certain way, and you go on a kind of a psychedelic journey. They call it holotropic breath work, and later shamanic breath work, and these kind of things. That it was a laying down, breathing, very different from pranayama. Until now, it's just all you work with your breath. It's breath work. So yoga, it's called breath work. It's just like, okay. So practicing yoga, pranayama means, I guess I've been practicing breath work since 2001, but the breath work as it was known since the 70s, laying down, separate from pranayama, separate from Wim Hof, you lay down, you breathe, and you have a non-ordinary journey, non-ordinary states of consciousness occurs. And when I moved to Bali, already loving the breath, like very intimate with the breath. I have a master I started practicing with around that time, O.P. Tawari, and he's 80-something now and teaches the scriptures and pranayam. And I go there. I want to go back. I haven't been there in years, but I was accredited to teach pranayama through him, so I actually have a pranayama degree, like like
a certificate.
I study. Yeah, well, it's not easy. It's like very boring, very astute. In through the nose, out through the other nostril, that kind of thing. Very simple, very got to sit a certain way, use your hand a certain way, yoga.
So Michael's the name, meditation is the game, and Meditation with Michael has now launched its very own website. Everything I'm doing is going to be on there, from meditation classes which you can join in person, catch up if you missed one, or just join online from the comfort of your own home. One-to-one sessions. We've got loads of freebies like the chakra meditations, and we've also got a new 10-day beginners course. So if you really want to build that strong foundation, I've suffered with anxiety, depression, suicidal tendencies, I've lost family members, I've been an addict, unhealthy relationships coming out my ears. Meditation was the panacea. Learning how to sit with any sensation that arises really just helps you to master that patience, and those who master patience, well, they master everything else. So I want to pass that on. It is my purpose to alleviate my own suffering, show others how to do the same, and we can all live more peacefully. It sounds all right, that, doesn't it? So this website is a lovely little hub for you to find everything I'm doing, from the ecstatic dances to the floating meditation journeys. I'll put a link in the description. Go check out meditationwithmichael.co.uk and awaken the power within. Peace and love, guys.
When I moved to Bali, immediately I was introduced to breath work, laying down and breathing. Like not pranayama, not sitting up straight, like laying down.
No alignment.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You lay down, you breathe, you have this spiritual experience. And I was like, wow, what is this?
So you were vibing off it then?
I've never heard of breath work. What?
Breath play is my friend Joshua. You met Josh with Transmute.
I love that guy.
Play.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Sometimes it's work, but sometimes it's play. And I discovered and was instantly like I want to teach this. I'm going to share this. I love this. I can't believe I've been missing out on breath work. It's basically the opposite of pranayama. Pranayama, you're sitting a certain way, you're breathing very, like you're counting it and holding the breath and learning to slowly hold the breath longer over time is the traditional way.
For someone who doesn't understand, what's the purpose behind that as well?
To develop a inward state, a meditative state. Pranayama brings you into meditation, basically.
Okay.
Yeah, which is the goal or the purpose of yoga, is to find a meditative state and reach a equanimity, a balanced state of nothingness to achieve this union. And so it's not stretching, it's not even the breathing. These are just tools. It's not even the meditating. It's the tools to get to this place.
Be fully present.
Yeah, which is very hard to achieve, actually.
Oh, I know.
It's like, it's like this.
The moment you do, you're just like,
Well,
you're not actually. You are just, you just are. You just are instead of the rest.
Until you're out of it, then you look back and go, oh, that was it, Breathwork's quite different. It's quite different, I feel. You lay down, you breathe in a circle. Don't stop breathing.
Continuous.
Continue, conscious connected breathing, they call it. Conscious connected breathing. So you're not holding your breath at all. You are continuing your breath until something happens. And it was always designed to reach altered states of consciousness. Always to find psychedelic places to go to, places in your psyche that you might normally go for healing, for transformation. That's what it was designed for. And that's how I carry it as well.
High on your own supply.
Get high your own supply, which I was taught not to do, of course. But now you can.
So this is the shamanic breathing then.
Yeah.
And from what I'm aware, did you was it copyrighted by yourself?
Oh no, my teacher Linda Starwolf.
Okay.
Was a student of Stanislav Grof, who created holotropic breathwork, and she's also, so that was the first breathwork, holotropic, which just means to get into altered states of consciousness. He was doing like work with like LSD and other substances to achieve these states for healing, like as a psychoanalyst. And that got legalized at some point, early 70s-ish. And they found, him and his wife, Christina, found the breath was just as powerful, if not more, to achieving these altered states of consciousness. And so she was a student of theirs, and obviously went off on her own path, followed a different teacher for a while, and created, as she found more ceremony, she brought that into the breath work. And so some 40 years ago she started, and like about 30 years ago she trademarked shamanic breath work. Okay. And I've been carrying that lineage, you could call it, for about 10 or 12. Yeah. And really, like, because she's actually from America, she's a white woman, and she was, a student of a Native American woman and a Mayan guy and yada yada, and kind of brought more ceremony into breathwork. And for me, that really makes it a safer and more sacred container. I think it's more important. Yeah, it makes it potent for people to feel safe and secure in their, in their
just
power.
like when you do a psychedelic, say you set in.
It's very much setting, much opposed to when I grew up. I would just take mushrooms in the city anytime and would pass out and stuff, and really learned that setting. It's that reverence. Yeah, it really is.
That ritualistic way of really sort of like leading you into the place rather than just, go on then. It's like, are you ready?
And me being kind of a sensitive human, being attuned to these the energies and stuff, from a child, it's like that stuff became obvious that setting was a very powerful part of the journey. And so I'm loving seeing actually a lot of plants are being discovered now and are legal in some states in the United States. And
all coming.
Yeah, it's all coming. It's kind of coming back. There was this brief period of human history where we're illegalizing something so valuable, something so simple that comes
we
from
could
the
go
ground.
into the politics of that, but
without
a whole
going too
podcast,
far. Without going too far, we know that there was a time period in which that was, illegalized. We'll just say that, leave it there, and now it's becoming open. And with that comes the original intention of the therapy of it, which is where breathwork came in. And right around now, breathwork is really popular. So you know what I mean? Breathwork and therapeutic use of psychedelics and all these things are now available to humans. And I think that's profound.
It's
very important and very simple.
I think that's half the problem. It's very hard to monetize, to sort of say, no, you can't have that unless da-da-da-da-da. And also it's healing people.
We don't want that.
Where's the repeat customer?
Yeah, indeed.
Like it's all. One thing I'm curious about is what's your opinions on empowerment? Because one thing I'm very mindful of is I don't want to keep repeating the same thing. I want you to learn this. I want to record it for you to take it away and then practice it. I don't want you to come back to me every time. I don't want you to think you need the teacher.
Absolutely.
What's your opinion?
That it's my opinion and the opinion of my teachers that you are your own. You have your own inner shaman, your own inner healer, inner guru. That is quite different. I like the difference of where we take, say, psilocybin or something, and we're kind of taken on a trip. And that's very powerful, could be therapeutic potentially. And the breathing only takes you sometimes in the same or deeper places, sometimes. And yet you have the power to do that.
You drove.
you drove and you could get off the road anytime, pretty much.
But that can be the panic. I've got somewhere. Oh, I wasn't prepared for this. Shit. Well, we've got 4 more hours of this, Sonny Jim. Because you do say there's a certain way of breathing, and it will just bring you back out. Because I did the set. That's when I first met. Well, I met you downstairs. Captain America wore the shirt for it.
Like it. I like it.
But it was because you were coming to Nikki Cohen, who we've had on the show, to Manchester Yoga Central, to put on your own shamanic breathing.
Shout out.
Definitely. And that was probably one of the first times I'd really let myself roar. Nice. And I mean, unashamedly. Yeah. Not because we're so, especially the English, stiff upper lip, no, don't be silly, don't make a fuss. Sure. And it's very like, I heard David Wizardry, who we've also had on again. I know you came to his Arignani on Friday as well.
Yeah, that was good.
But he was roaring, and he wasn't. It was just roaring, and it was almost like when I breathed in. I didn't need to concentrate. I didn't need to try. That masculine energy of try, fix, control. It was just, and then wow. And there's nothing else to do but just allow the body to do what it naturally has so skillfully been designed to do. Yeah. Get out your own bloody way.
Yeah, get out your own way. Yeah, it's not boring. Just to breathe.
And it's deep, by the way. It's not just 20 minutes. We're talking like 2 hours, 2.5 hours. We've got music as well is an important part of it, I find, for you. Yeah. So could you bring that in a little bit as well?
Definitely. So again, that safety of container, and I'm really glad to hear that you felt safe to just breathe into yourself, breathe yourself back into being. That's the goal. We say safety first, transformation second. But it is really set up for someone to feel at ease so that they can transform, which might mean roaring and punching a pillow or screaming bloody murder, or it could be really peaceful and
some people are laughing, some people are just smiling to themselves.
Full range of human experience happens because breathing is like our most simple natural thing that we do, and therefore when we change it, everything can change. And so I'm happy to hear someone that you felt safe to go into yourself there. Part of our journey in shamanic breathwork is that it is a ceremony. We're calling in energies, we're becoming aware of them, and the breath and the music take you on a journey, and only as deep as you're willing to go. Kind of different than plant medicine. Then you're just going. You're going no matter what.
Because you can do it through the nose. You can do it open mouth. You can do it closed mouth, pursed lips. They're going to all have a completely different effect.
That's true. It doesn't even have to be
gently. I found out that even that feminine way of just dropping into the sensations in this non-forceful way, like, oh God, and the next thing you know, and that's what I feel like 2.5 gives you.
Yeah,
it's hard to do 2.5 hours of Wim Hof in it.
Yeah, even the technique that we're offering is going to be really challenging. Like the music usually lasts for an hour and a half, and there's a coming in and a going out, and then there's processing, which is just as important or more actually.
Which is important that you say that.
Yeah, it's more important even than the breathing, because there's got to be meaning to it. It's like, what is the purpose of doing this or feeling that way? What did it, what got brought up? But the music is part of the journey. So no matter how you're breathing, I guess, is, and we do have a particular way which we find most powerful for this type of experience, but the music also, and that's chakra attuned, we say, the 7 chakras like in yoga.
Oh, I remember, no.
Was already there. Like many elements of this particular practice, shamanic breathwork, coined by my teacher, Starwolf, she created this with the drum, with the music, with the integration and processing, the container, the ceremonial container of breathwork. And the music takes you on the journey as well. It just kind of stirs things up in the root, kind of gets more danceable, and then turns into like a movie soundtrack. It's really interesting, and then it kind of...
we are frequencies, so no wonder different frequencies are going to just bring forth different emotions.
If we're just breathing into one, we're only going to go there. If there's not something dark as well, we say the dark and the light, no difference. It's all a part of who we are. So we embrace both the dark and the light not just one way of breathing.
It's not like this vilification of the darkness, which I know a lot of people do. Love
Not
and
at
light
all.
and positive, and it's like...
That's quite rampant in
Good
the
luck.
spiritual community.
Yeah. Second someone starts doing that, I'm
Yeah.
like, love you, but that's just not my vibe. Like, this darkness has just as much a right to express itself,
Absolutely.
just skillfully.
Absolutely.
That hate within me doesn't have to be projected at someone else. It can be brought out in a breath, in a dance move.
So that brings us back to empowerment. You just said it so well, we are both the dark and the light. We are our kind of ugly, shoved aside, monster selves as much as our divine selves, or whatever you want to say in that direction of light. All of that is us. And it can be embodied through things like breathing, in which you have the space and time to roar and get nasty and get angry and all these things that we often shove aside in society. Don't allow ourselves to go, and yet we do have them. So it's very empowering to be able to both come out of your journey, feel safe enough to do that. You're not taken on a journey by plants, which is fantastic, but you're not taken on it. You're going on the journey, and the breath and the music assist you. They help you help yourself, which I say as the facilitator, I'm helping you help yourself, which is the healing journey for everything and everybody, really. You're healing yourself.
Which again is about that empowerment.
Yeah. It's empowering to feel the sense of, I'm doing this, I can do this anytime kind of feeling, and I'm safe enough to go there right now. And so there's a safety, a beauty in embracing your darkness, the wholeness of yourself. And so sometimes people come out of it feeling more embodied, feeling deeper. And so then there's not the desire, or not even desire, then the stuff beneath the surface doesn't come out sideways, come out in a conversation with your partner or whatever. It's embodied. It's part
not passively, just perversely coming out because you haven't fully let it have the microphone. So it's like, oh, you dickhead.
Well said. And both of those being embraced. Yeah.
And another thing that I know is important to you, the ecstatic dance, the DJ.
Yeah.
And you said, from what I remember, you'd been DJing from quite young.
Yeah.
So I'll just double check the time that we're on. Yeah, loads of time. Beautiful. So we've got probably about half an hour left.
Perfect. Like I said, many things came together when I found particularly shamanic breathwork. And actually, I should shout out a book in which I wrote a chapter in. So I'm an author.
Hey.
I'm an author.
Author too.
It's actually called Shamanic Breathwork, The Nature of Change. And it's like 26-ish breathwork facilitators telling their story of transformation.
I might have to go and get that. Will you sign it though?
Yes, absolutely. Could be worth a lot someday. So it's beautiful. It's an inspiring book. I wrote chapter 23 or something, but it's my journey of getting to Bali and finding breathwork and expanding and yada yada. But many things came in. Like I was already in love with pranayama. I was already in love with the breath. And deeper transformation. I was expanding. I wanted to do things deeper and bigger. That was part of being in Bali and finding breathwork. Just because we also use things like tarot cards or oracle cards, which I've been using since I was a late teenager, and we utilized ceremony. I was already doing lots of shamanic stuff back then. I was already walking that path. I just didn't know where it was going. Music, and then the music in which I was such a student of in my 20s, like music, particularly a certain genre, hip hop back then. But at that point, I was like, I love everything. I was just going to admit it. I love all the music, and I still do. I just love everything that's good.
I'm the same. Like, that's what you into. I'm like, why label? Why ruin it? Like, if Lady Gaga pulls out a banger.
Oh, sure.
It's the same thing as Trevor Hall. Like, Our
I
Echo, by the way, has just released one with Mickey. Have you heard it yet?
Oh, I got it.
Oh, that's a banger. That's in my next set.
That's in my next set too. And so just loving all the music and all the breath and all these different elements, they kind of came together in shamanic breathwork, which we use a musical journey, which to me was ecstatic dance. So I have this time period of not really getting good at DJing, but I had records. I had turntables.
School.
Oh yeah, I was into hip hop. I was like, the programs weren't even invented yet. Where you have like this is my early 20s, so like Serato is the first program to have like one record that can play anything off your computer. You know, like we didn't even have that yet.
Because my teacher, SK Beats, shout out.
Yeah.
He also started that way.
Yeah.
So when he's doing all this now, it's like, you don't know, look, you got it.
It's so, yeah, so it's a funny...
But he misses it. Do you miss that way?
Of course, like having my stack of records and digging for new tracks and stuff. It's like always in hip hop, that's what it was. It was about finding something somebody hadn't heard so much and flipping it, turning it into something else, looping this certain part and mixing with that. So that concept is still with me in my DJing today. So I didn't get that good at it. I kept that art in my room. I didn't play out. My friends were phenomenal DJs. And I was traveling around for dance competitions, and I would see like all the dancers in the movies at that time. That was like the time when breakdancing was getting big again.
Oh, okay.
Like the battles in the movie.
I know what you mean.
You're
watching Britain's Got Talent. You got
all
that
that
theatre coming on.
Beginning of that was when I was teaching hip hop dance at college, right?
You came in at the right time.
I did. It was fun. It was a fun time, but people the true hip hop was obscured. Like, what is it and where's this coming from? So I was teaching the roots of it because that's where I came from. Old school, you call it, original, real, and so anyway, so I had turntables. I didn't get good at them because I focused on the dance, but I had them. It was an art to me. I loved it. And then it was like letting all that go and like painfully selling my records for like nothing.
I can just see it in your eyes.
It hurt. It was hard, but it was like a part of me was letting, it was one of the times in my life where I've let everything go, where I've sold all my belongings. Done that about 3 times.
Do you know what though? That really is freeing.
Oh yeah.
I used to be a hoarder. Like, you wanted to see my loft. We're talking like teddies from child, and it was just like when you finally let them go, it's like almost like an unburdening. It's like
liberating, huh?
That's not me.
So like,
it was never things anyway.
Letting go of my lifestyle in Oregon, where I grew up, and then just moved a couple hours up the street. Really, moved to Asia. I let go of everything, even my records. So it's like part of myself. Letting go of hip hop. When I moved to Bali, it was like letting go of. I didn't even tell anyone I did hip hop. I didn't do it anymore. I basically just loved it from afar, and got really into yoga, teaching yoga. I found breathwork. I was an astrologer. I could be my weird self, and I was going to ecstatic dance at least twice a week. And a couple years went by.
People who don't know what ecstatic dance is. Let's say they've not seen Wizardry's episode
or
Echoes.
Sure. Ecstatic dance is it's a free-form movement practice where people can dance kind of any way they want to nowadays it's a live DJ, and it's a wave of energy starting from a certain point of stillness into a peak and back into stillness, maybe more than once. But it's a wave of energy in a free-form movement.
It's not just drum and bass, dum 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 dum, or techno. It's
a multi-genre wave of energy that builds from stillness into a peak and then drops back down again. And it's meant to be emotional. It's meant to have several genres. It's meant to be a journey within yourself as you move your body. It's a healing practice. It comes from 5 rhythms, and 5 rhythms created by Gabriel Roth is a practice on its own. 5 rhythms is 5 different rhythms of music that you dance yourself through.
That's why it's called that.
Yeah, 5 rhythms created, ecstatic dance came from that practice, and so did our music was inspired in shamanic breathwork. Shamanic breathwork's music was inspired by Gabriel Roth, who was friends with Starwolf was friends with her back then. So I was like, wow, when I found that out, because I was already doing both. I just, wow, now I know why this resonated with me so much. Like what chakra this shakes up. We have very specific ways we do music in shamanic breathwork, and very specific reasons we put songs in certain places in ecstatic dance. And me loving all types of music, and having like this like DJ dance background, student of music basically, it was like, I'm getting back into DJing.
When was this?
Oh, this was, a couple of years after. This was, I don't know. It's fuzzy. 7-10 years ago, I don't know. I don't know. A couple of years after I moved to Bali, stopped doing vinyl.
Okay.
Because then it's like all the technology is there, and I don't even need turntables anymore if I don't want them, and the programs play anything you want, and I can have any kind of music.
What was that like for you as well?
Dance.
Was that exciting?
Yeah, it was liberating because there was a couple of years where it's like, oh, if I don't do a genre, I'm not doing something, and the discovery of ecstatic dance and the vastness of like possibilities, both it empowered me. It enabled me to explore all these different types of music forms and find ways they fit together or not.
It's been so healing for me.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that first one I went to. I'm dancing and I'm a party boy, so I've been dancing my whole life.
Totally.
But now I'm sober.
Right.
And this friend of Isabella's comes up to me, she's like, loosen up. And I'm like, I'm fucking loose. What you on about? Then I remember I was like, and I didn't realise it was a chance for energy to express itself, just as singing is, just as art is, just as poetry is.
Well put.
This is another way.
Well put.
And then I'll find it sometimes, even in Wizardry's Arignani that we just did, a part of me was like, I'm not dancing how I want to. I'm like, which part of me is saying that? Because one part's loving it, but this other part's going, that's not. And so I'll just always become still. And then all of a sudden, and then
let the music move.
It won't be a cool move. It'll be just And it wanted to shake. It wanted to be weirdo. It wanted to just freak out without caring what it looked like. And that was the issue. I was trying to put it in a certain box, a certain flavour, and it just wanted to be it. And then afterwards, back to it.
For a while there, it was anything but my hip hop dance moves that I already know so well, that I practiced every day. I practiced them, get them really good. And anything but that. I'll go to ecstatic dance and I'll just close my eyes and find new ways to move around. And if I find myself in the the usual moves, I don't do that.
But what I sometimes do is I give myself, because this experience we're having is just an experience of limitation. That's what creates the human experience, the game of being a human. So I'll go, right, now you can't use your legs. So I have to, now you can't, you have to be only bent over. Totally. Now you can only move your head, and now you can only pop your chest. And I just personally give myself these to see, how can I now, with this limitation, channel the energy in a cool way that never would have happened because I'm concentrating on my legs.
No way.
I'm concentrating on that.
Yeah.
And I have, the reason I'm so interested in it as well is because I've just recently become a DJ myself.
Yeah, nice. Man.
So, Moksha. I've only done 2. I did my birthday and I did this one called Born Free, where I also teach classes, and I call it movement meditation.
Yeah,
because I believe that you're being fully present with the movement. But I'd love for you to come down for one of them one time. I know
love to hear you, man.
You're a busy guy.
Yeah, but, just passing through. But
next time when you're around,
big ups, man. Yeah, it's a journey being a DJ. Yeah,
it's beautiful.
And a conscious DJ, and
there's something else to it. Just having a load of people and just not the power, that's the wrong way of saying it, but you are the one who decides where this is going. And I feel like you can't just be our DJ. You need to also understand ecstatic dance. Yeah. You also need to understand the point of what this is. Yeah. Not just be someone who knows a load of good tracks and they'll give everyone a great time, because I will purposely, and I don't know about yourself, put a song in there that's challenging. Oh, yeah. Where people the dance floor starts moving, but there's a few where that'll stay and they're going, what? And I'm like, they get it. And then I'll purposely be like, next time, probably give you a bit more of a heads up. How does irritation want to dance? How does pain want to dance? How does frustration? Because I also did a thing where I made it too quiet, too soft. Sure. And I say too, I did that on purpose. Yeah. To get that part frustrated. I wanted to do this. I wanted to do that. And then when it finally came, you should have just seen it. It was beautiful. And I'm sure you've done it yourself. So, you've mentioned quite a lot. You've given us a lot of your time. We've probably got about 15 minutes left. I know you mentioned astrology, but is there anything else that you wanted to share about you? Who on earth are you that you just felt this is a great expression of Levi Banner? How much time? 15 minutes? We'll get you back on. Yeah. Currently, the driving force is music. I've been traveling the world primarily with ecstatic dance for quite some time. A couple of years now, and I've probably DJ'd at more ecstatic dance communities, because we have them all over the world, by the way. There's ecstatic dance in Manchester, there's ecstatic dance in London, there's ecstatic dance in
South Africa, everywhere, everywhere. And so I've probably been to like 70 communities only, but probably more than most people. And that's been a great joy because those are my people. Those are your people. They're like exactly who you want to know in the city. You go to a city, it's like, where are the yogis and the tantra people and the dancers and the healthy people and yada yada? They're all there at dance, all mixed together. That's where they are. That's where a lot of community comes together. Part of ecstatic dance is community, which is a huge part of my life journey. Is just being a part of community is huge. And I get to kind of dance around the world right now, seeing how others have developed that. And so it's awesome coming back to Manchester. I love the places that I get to come back to. I have friends and I, can reconnect with them. Even if it's once a year, it's great. And so that's a huge piece in my heart for the dance. But it is my driving force as I go across the world.
So you're quite nomadic now then, are we?
I'm very nomadic. It's a temporary time of life because I have a Cancer moon and a Cancer rising. It just means that I like home and I like comfort.
So you've done this on purpose?
Yeah, it's a time period because otherwise I don't do that.
I mean, I'm about to do so. I'm converting a van to go and just finally, because I'm so attached to comfort.
Yeah.
And this is my safe place that I go back to. And when the safe place is gone, it's like, oh, what's that going to be like?
It's good to break out of that sometimes. Yeah. And there's something about building, but also changing. And we can either participate with that or not. And I'm participating with that currently, my current cycles.
How's that been for you, by the way, just before we
finish? It's been both expansive and scary. It's, it's like basically a huge shift and, seeing places I never would before and meeting people I never would, but also like not really what I want,
Pros and cons to everything.
Yeah. So I'm either focused on a breathwork training. I teach shamanic breathwork trainings 2 weeks at a time. And we have those around the world, such as the United States, Costa Rica, Bali, and so on.
Which I definitely will be coming to at some point.
Yeah. And so it's either a breathwork training or a sacred site. It just came down from Callanish in Scotland. Last June I was at Avebury. The June before that I was at Stonehenge. I've been to the pyramids of Giza in Egypt. I've been to all over
quite boring life,
Mesoamerica, but I'm a total nerd when it comes to sacred sites. Temples, pyramids, standing stones, dolmens, all that stuff. I love it. I'm totally fascinated about humans building structures to honor most of the time the night sky. And so my astrology system is very based on experience of the night sky and bringing that down to the astrology chart. So it's an earth-based astrology. And so I'll go to an eclipse or a solstice or something at a sacred site or a breathwork training around the world, and I would build a tour around that. So that's kind of how I'm living my life currently, until I feel like landing somewhere.
And where can people find you if they want to?
Well, Instagram, Facebook, Levi.Banner.
And we'll make sure we put all that in the description anyway. Great. So if anyone wants to see what you're all about on a deeper level. Yeah,
and I might be in your location soon.
Well, Transmute's just moved to Manchester city centre, and I know me and Josh, we've got a sort of mastermind going where we want to bring all the stuff that's helped alleviate suffering from ourselves so we can then pass it on to others. Breathwork, take, yoga, take, dance, take, all these things and what we want to bring to people. So we'll chat about maybe getting you down there as well. But I know you do a lot of work with Nikki Cohen, Manchester Yoga Central, the Temple Festival as well that we do. So too many good things
stuff going on Manchester nowadays. You guys got a lot going on. It's good.
Is there anything you'd like to leave the people with for the last little bit of Levi?
Just to follow your path, that it's not easy to breathe into being, to be who you're meant to be, because we're taught and we're held in certain ways from other people's view, our parents and our partners and everything. And there's always opportunity to move slowly or quickly into who you really are. And I'm not saying change your whole life, but you can, if that's what it takes. But there's opportunity to be more who you really want to be. So I just encourage people to do that, to find ways to rediscover, remember who they're here to be, and to be that as much as is comfortably possible, and to know it's not easy.
That it wasn't meant to be.
Yeah,
Nothing worth having.
Own journey. Yeah.
Beautiful. I appreciate you coming on. So,
pleasure.
Could we finish with maybe a bit of breath work for the guys?
Absolutely.
Brilliant.
Well, I invite everyone to take all this in by closing the eyes down and taking up a couple of deep breaths, just tuning inward and kind of digesting our words here today. Maybe something resonated, maybe something was brought into heart and inspiring. Maybe it was just a bunch of stuff to hear for a while to entertain you. In any case, digesting by simply being and breathing. And once again, we'll come into a different kind of breathing exercise for a few moments. By breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. I'm just going to do that a few more times. In through the nose and out through the mouth. And the trick will be, as soon as the exhale's over, the inhale begins. As soon as the inhale's over, the exhale begins. So let it be a connected breath, like a circle or a spiral, conscious connected breath. And feel free to make some sound as you exhale and just be comfortable, and just do that another 10, 20 times and see where it takes you, physically, emotionally, spiritually. Bringing your breathing back to normal, relaxing into the moment, feeling the emotions that arose, that have arisen, feeling the physical sensations, or being in the psychedelic place that you are for a moment. Until you slowly come back, and as you open your eyes and we close, I encourage you to write in your journal or talk about, to take note of what you've experienced, what you just went through, any insights that you gained from the conversation, from yourself that came up through just breathing for a moment. Thank you for having me.
No, I appreciate you coming on, brother. All good things come to those who wait, and it was a good thing.
Yeah. Thanks for waiting.
Captain America, Levi Banner. Peace and love, guys.
Bye.
Well, Levi's insights have opened a new perspective today. I'd love to hear what you thought about the episode. So if you put a comment about what resonated with you, well, that also helps me to curate content that I know will matter to you more, and we can bring more profound guests in the future. So if you want to stay connected, like, subscribe to the show, and you'll see even more inspiring conversations coming your way. If you want to get in touch with Levi at any point, he's doing so many great things. I know he's got retreats and he's over at some point and he's doing workshops and he's got so many cool things that he's doing that. Well, the only way to find out is by contacting him. So I'll have his information in the description. Also with myself, we've got that 10-day beginners course, different packages as well to suit you. The first day is free. one-to-one sessions so I can show you what's helped me with the anxiety, what's helped me with the depression, with the addictions, with losing loved ones, with having toxic behaviour patterns. Look, are you sick and tired of it yet? Because if you are, will you come and join me? And maybe it's even just for one of the events, the ecstatic dances or the floating meditation journeys. You pick. But the website's there and all the details for me. And also for Transmute Studio. That's where I do a lot of my work for a reason. I absolutely love what they're about. The bridging that gap between the mainstream and the esoteric, drums and floating meditation journeys and dances and poetry workshops, yoga. Just go and check it out. Gong baths, I love them for a reason. So their details will be there as well. Now, I said there's going to be more inspiring conversations coming your way. And the next one's interesting. This one's with... she was already a friend and I'd seen her at the psychedelic community doing a talk. She's called Saskia and she's a conscious dominatrix. And this one goes deep and she's so raw, she's so vulnerable about some of the abuse that she's had, but how she's using that now, alchemizing it so that she can actually show other people how to do the same thing and turn that pain into something beautiful. Conscious dominatrix, guys. I don't know what else I can say. So that'll be episode 6 with Saskia. If you maybe want to go and check out some of Levi's friends, we've got Nikki Cohen in the first season. We've got Echo. She's done 2 episodes now, both with the first episode of each season, and Wizardry as well. So loads for you to play with. But until then, guys, you know I love you. You've waited till the end for a reason. You're resonating with what I'm resonating with. We're all going to have such fun. Peace and love, guys. Did you see me kicking the plant there? Well, hitting the plant, that's how conscious meditation's made me. Let's try that again. Peace and love, guys. Sorry.